Good? Go ahead, sir.
And for Terrence, are you ready to feel the Mexican power, Terrence?
You've seen him, you know how strong he is. You can't win! It's suicide!
I'm ready.
You know, guys, I can only speak for boxing when I say this because that's the only sport I watch. I mean, I want to go back to watching football and basketball just to have something to watch when there's no fights to watch. So maybe I'll get back into that. But when it comes to boxing, I know this for a fact. Boxing is a microcosm of everything that we see outside of the sport. Just by talking to someone about boxing, you can tell the character of a person. Because what I've learned from experience, from personal experiences, whatever you hear them say when they're talking boxing is a reflection of views that they have on other topics, other more serious topics. I mean, serious things that are going on in the country. You get an idea of where they stand racially, politically, etc. But I'm gonna break that down a little bit more. First, I wanna go ahead and get into this clip, and then I'm gonna come back and finish my point. This is a clip of Canelo Alvarez right after he loses to Terrence Crawford, and Ellie Look tells Canelo Alvarez, "I may be the only one, but I thought you won the fight."
Canelo, I may be the only one. I thought you won the fight. I scored it for you.
You know, we need to accept it. We need to accept it no matter what. In the scorecard, we lost it.
Well, you're the best. You're the number one fighter in the world, and I think keep shining.
Thank you.
You know what's real crazy is Ellie, he presented that shit like he has some real good news for Canelo. Like he has some news that Canelo hadn't even heard about yet. And then he says, "I may be the only one, but I thought you won the fight." Why would that be something Canelo wants to hear? Now, it would be different if Ellie was running up to Canelo to tell him, "Hey, man, I got some good news for you." It turns out two of the judges, they scored the fight wrong. And now after they just retallied up the points, it turns out you actually won the fight. So the fight is about to be overturned. You're getting all your belts back. You are still the champion, Canelo. I mean, that's the only thing that would have made Canelo Alvarez feel better. Not hearing one of the most racist people in media saying, "I thought you won, and I'm the only one." Now, with that being said, let's get back to the point that I was making earlier. Like I told you guys, what you hear these boxing fans say is a reflection of the views that they have outside of boxing. And like I said, I know this from personal experience. I was a part of the media. I used to be in the media room covering fights with everyone in the media. And I'm telling you, man, every single time I talk to these non-black reporters, the stuff that they said, the stuff that came out of their mouths when they talked about black boxers versus non-black fighters, man, they sound worse than a lot of the race fans in the comment section. And it's crazy because we would get in these debates, and a lot of times those debates would end up leaking over to talking about, once again, what's going on in the country. We could be talking about Trayvon Martin or one of the many shootings in America by the police. We talk about Colin Kaepernick, and they would always take the side of the racists. Trayvon Martin deserved it, or Colin Kaepernick, they would tell me how they didn't like him. He was a phony. He shouldn't be talking about politics and football, which football, by the way, is the same league that put a photo up of Charlie Kirk in memory of his death. One of the most infamous white supremacists in the country. Or at least he was. I've already told you guys, Sean Zattel, he was one of those reporters that I used to get into it with, have these debates where he would use all the talking points to discredit all the black fighters and praise the non-black fighters. Well, that conversation, it transitioned into us talking about Trump and Colin Kaepernick, and all of a sudden, he was defending Donald Trump for defending those Nazis that was marching in Charlottesville. He was saying to me, well, they took what Donald Trump said out of context. There was other stuff that he said. He didn't just say there were good and bad on both sides. As if Trump could say something else after that would make that sound better. Then he was upset because Colin Kaepernick got that Nike deal. Then he starts telling me, all that stuff that Colin Kaepernick was talking about when it comes to the police shootings, why doesn't he donate all that money he got from Nike and donate it to the black people in the ghetto, since he likes to talk about people in the ghetto getting shot by the police? And that's when I told him, first of all police shootings don't even happen in the ghetto, and all victims of hate crimes don't die in the ghetto. And it's not even supposed to matter what part of the town the crimes are committed in. Everyone deserves justice equally. So we talked about a lot of this stuff, and I told him straight up, I said, you coming off as a racist now, right? And he said, I don't care, man, I don't care. And I said, okay. And then that was the last time I ever said anything to him. I mean, before we start having these conversations, I thought he was cool. But like I said, man, you want to know somebody's true colors? Start talking to them about boxing. Man, they will expose themselves. The mask will come off. I had these same conversations with the white boy who used to run the Mayweather channel with Jeff Mayweather. We start talking about boxing. He dissing all the black boxers. Next thing you know, he's telling me how the black people getting shot by the police, they deserve it, and black people need to learn how to behave, etc., etc., etc. And then you have Ellie, who back in like 2015, around that time when Black Lives Matter was big, right? When they were at their peak. This is when Ellie Setback, he was literally making videos on his channel dissing Black Lives Matter. And I remember this. It was after one of those big shootings that was like nationwide news, right? I remember we were in the media room at the MGM Grand for a fight. Andre Berto was there, and he was talking about bringing all the boxers together to have like somewhat of a meeting and talk about the shootings, right? He wanted to talk about it. And I remember, as we were asking Andre Berto questions, the media was around recording. At first they were asking him questions, of course, about fights. And Ellie was standing like right next to me. And I had never seen Ellie ever do this before. Ellie, as soon as Andre Berto started talking about the shootings, Ellie sat back, he turned his camera off, and he left the scrum. He completely just walked off. He didn't even want to hear it. And keep in mind, he didn't walk away because they stopped talking about boxing. Because remember, Ellie was making videos. He was literally making videos attacking T.I. because T.I. was once again talking about the police shootings. So Ellie made a video dissing T.I. Ellie made a video, talking about Black Lives Matter, and he was saying, all lives matter, et cetera, et cetera. Now, you would think because Ellie has made so much money off of black fighters that he would show some type of compassion for whatever it is that black people are fighting for, right? He would empathize a little bit. Now, some people would say, but Ellie, but he rocks with Gervonta Tank Davis. But it was really Gervonta that was rocking with Ellie. Gervonta was more of a fan of Ellie's than Ellie was a fan of Gervonta's. If you guys recall, I forget which fight it was for, but it was All Access. It was one of Gervonta's fights he was training for. And on All Access, there's a clip where Gervonta, he invites Ellie into his limo to do an interview, and he wanted that to be a part of All Access. It was almost like Gervonta felt like that was a flex. Like he was saying to everybody, like, look, y'all, I got Ellie in the limo with me, interviewing me, an exclusive interview, right? So Gervonta is becoming the biggest star in America, and he personally wanted Ellie around him. Now, remember, this is years back. So now Ellie is using Gervonta as his black card. That's basically him saying, look, y'all, I'm not racist. I got a black friend. I'm over here doing exclusives with Gervonta. Gervonta likes me, and I like him. I praise Gervonta, so you can't say I'm racist, right? Do you guys think it's a coincidence that Ellie has been covering boxing for at least 20 years, and there is only one black boxer that Ellie has ever praised, supported, and defended. We're talking about hundreds of Black American boxers, and only one that he has publicly supported or defended. But when it comes to non-Black boxers, Mexicans and other non-Black boxers, there are tons of fighters that he has went out of his way to defend, to support, even if they were racist. Speaking of that, Ryan Garcia. Now, Ryan Garcia, guys, he actually banned Ellie from his gym. He said he's not doing interviews with him. He called Ellie biased on something that Ellie has said, right? Here's the video or the short that I did on it. But anyway, Ryan, once again, he banned Ellie and made it public. Now, just remember the type of things that Ellie says about Black boxers like Terrence Crawford, Devin Haney. He's always dissing them, right? And it gets extremely personal. And Ellie, he used to do the same thing with Floyd Mayweather. In fact, Floyd Mayweather found out and banned Ellie from his gym. In fact, I showed you guys the clip a long time ago where Floyd actually did it on camera. He notices Ellie was the one that has been dissing him. And he's saying, you the dude that was dissing me, huh? So Ellie, he's dissing all of these Black fighters, from Devin Haney to Floyd Mayweather to Terrence Crawford. But when it came to Ryan Garcia coming out and publicly, banning Ellie, and once again saying he's not going to do any more interviews with Ellie, Ellie never had anything bad to say about Ryan Garcia. This was before Ryan Garcia came out of the closet as a racist. But even after we found out that Ryan Garcia cheated, and once again, he took that mask off and he exposed the racist that he is, right after Ryan Garcia went on that racial tirade, like the very next day, Ryan, he goes live and he says, I ain't apologizing for nothing I said. If y'all want to try to do something, y'all want to try to hurt me, it is what it is, basically. And guess who was in the chat saying, what's up to Ryan? Once again, a day after he went on that tirade, it was Ellie. So a day after Ryan Garcia says, F all N-words and F all Muslims, not to mention a lot of other stuff that he said for at least, an hour or two when he was going live on Spaces, Ellie is right there in the chat co-signing everything Ryan Garcia said and everything Ryan stands for. But wait a minute. I thought Ellie was supposed to be ride or die for Gervonta Tank Davis. Why would you do something like that? Why would you defend a racist who just completely offended Gervonta's entire race and his entire family when you were supposed to be loyal to him? You were supposed to be loyal to Gervonta. And yet, here you are supporting someone who doesn't even want you around. Someone who has banned you from coming to his gym. Now, once again, when Devin Haney and Gervonta were beefing, Ellie, he would be all on Twitter, firing shots at Devin, just constantly dissing Devin. You see, Ellie was taking advantage of the fact that Gervonta doesn't like Devin Haney. So he felt like, well, if a Black person is saying this about Devin, then I can say it. It's the whole N-word situation, right? Well, if you guys are using the N-word, I should be able to use it too, right? So Ellie, he thought he was being slick. He looking at it like, I get to kill two birds with one stone. I get to diss a Black fighter, but at the same time, I can make it look like I'm really just coming to Gervonta's defense. I'm really just coming to Gervonta's aid. But how come he didn't come to Gervonta's defense? How come he didn't come to Gervonta's aid when Ryan Garcia attacked Gervonta and the entire race? And why would Ellie want to be personally associated with Ryan Garcia, an open racist? That's a rhetorical question. It's because he feels the same way Ryan Garcia feels about Black people. I mean, just like Ellie was hanging out with Gervonta Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez, they hang out with a whole bunch of Black people. So Ellie has always been dissing Black fighters just to defend or praise non-Black fighters. He's been doing this from day one. He's just getting exposed for it right now. But I have been telling you guys about him for the longest. And he made himself look even worse when he ran up to Canelo and said that. With that being said, I'm gonna wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, Visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LOOK Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to LOOK.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.